Jay's song. It's stolen from the Tigger song. But it's my song now. The wonderful thing about jays is that jays are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber, their bottoms made out of springs. They're bouncy, trancy, fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful thing about jays is that I'm the only one. Okay. My name is Jay Hyde. I'm a 45-year-old South African male. Grew up in South Africa. Was born in South Africa. And I'm studied to become an engineer here in South Africa. And I now work as an aeronautical engineer. And I build aircraft. I climb a little bit. Used to run quite a lot. Cycle every now and again. Basically anything that gets me outside and into the mountains or on the rivers. Mountains and rivers are the places that I like the best. You know, people are described either as mountain people or as beach people or sea people. And I know I'm not a sea person. There's just something about mountains and rivers that holds my soul, that makes me feel at home and comfortable with myself and my environment. I'll tell you a story about the first time I ever felt validated by my father. My father was very sporty, and I wasn't when I was younger, when I was at school. And I always felt he was disappointed in me because I wasn't as sporty as he was. And I became a pilot, and I became a pilot secretly, without telling my parents. And because I wanted it to be a surprise and I wasn't sure whether I'd be able to finish it financially. And so I didn't want it to be something that I had failed at. I had wanted it to present it as a fait accompli. There it is, I've got it, I've done it. And they came to visit me in the town that I lived in for my birthday. And when I had been 8 years old, I had got, as a birthday present, a flight in an aircraft for my father. And so I said, as a kind of reverse birthday present, I was going to give the two of them a flight. I'd arranged a flight with a pilot that I knew, I said. And they weren't terribly excited, but they knew I was interested in it, and so they went along. And I got them, I got the aircraft, and I got another pilot with me who pretended he was instructing me on things. And then when it eventually came to the time to go, I put them in the aircraft, and then I got in and started the aircraft up and started taxiing off. And they were going, "Where's the pilot?" And I said, "Well, I'm the pilot." And I took them on, one of the first flights I took passengers on. And not on that flight, but a few months later, I flew with my father to go and do some work somewhere. And my father turned to me during the course of the flight, and he suddenly looked at me after I'd done some radio work with the air traffic controllers, and he looked at me and he said, "You're really a pilot." And I could see he was proud. So that was good for me. About when my father died and how difficult that was, and how you would ever describe that really to someone. Holding your father's hand as he dies. It's just immense sadness of saying goodbye to someone and knowing that tomorrow or in a few minutes' time they are no longer going to be aware of you, that you will never be able to speak to them again, that you'll never be able to see the sparkle in their eye or hear their words or have anything to do with them. The only thing is you'll have is memories and perhaps photographs. And holding on to someone as they die is it's incredibly painful and sad. And when my father died, I've never seen anyone so brave, because he died because he had cancer, but then I had euthanized him in the end, because he asked me to. And my whole family was around at the time, and we gave him an overdose of morphine and just sat talking with him until he died. So, and that's why it's so incredibly brave. It's not like suicide. He was in a place where he was in a lot of pain, and he was not far away from dying anyway. But to choose your own death it's brave. It's incredibly brave.
And I'm 25, and we are on Koinania Farm, Wild Spirit Backpackers, in the Crags, which no one's ever heard of. So Nature's Valley, yeah, it's usually a better hit. I was quite into horse riding when I was younger, and I always wanted to like compete, and yeah, I got over that as soon as I found out about boys. But my dream as a child, it was the focus. It was never clear because I grew up with very liberal parents, so I had a lot of choice and a lot of freedom. And you probably know, it's really difficult to know what you want to do when there's so much option. And I still find that now. But I always had quite a strong sense as a little girl of just like wanting to, like at one stage I wanted to be a nurse, because I love the thought of like solving problems, like helping people, solving problems, fixing things. Favorite thing. But yeah, dream, climb trees for the rest of my life. Make cool things. Yeah, live in a beautiful environment, breathe fresh air. There is so much potential for, we call it upcycling here instead of recycling, which breaks down something to make exactly the same thing again. Upcycling is using something which is trash and making it, we call it from trash to treasure, so trash into something new. And wow, it would solve so many problems at one time, social and environmental and economic, because because of the rest of the world's focus on environmental stuff, there's a lot of potential for funding and for setting up projects, sustainable projects, where you're teaching people skills. So like showing them how to make like solar lamps out of Coke bottles, or candle holders out of tins, or wallets out of Tetra Pak, which is really, really, you can't recycle Tetra Pak at all. So if we just had mass movements in the townships where, like unemployment is huge in this country, and there's a real need for people to generate their own income because there aren't enough jobs. So if we could find ways for all our trash that can be made into something new to go to a central place in all the townships and employ the children and the youth on the street that turn to gangsterism, if they had something to occupy themselves that they believed in and were making a bit of money off, that would solve problems on many levels. Unemployed women, disempowered women. But yeah, absolutely.
Hit me. So my name, Quentin Peter Richards. I like my second name. Not Peter, Peter. P-E-T-E-R. People make this mistake. Not good. Well, my trade is a lithographer, printer by trade. But the last few years I got into exporting. Pays well. Feed people. That's a necessity. So the necessity, we service this market, and it's profitable, it's good. My personal opinion, I feel that a police officer and a medic working on the ambulance, and a teacher, I believe that these people should be the highest paid people in the country, because they are the ones that see to it that you get educated, that you get health care, and that you're okay, and it's not happening. A normal cop on the street, shitty money. I'm going to put my life on the line for 5,000 rand. I must be wacko. No ways, I get shot at every day, and I can't even shoot back until my life is threatened. Bullshit, not for me. I'd rather export fruit and veg. More profitable at the end of the day. This is the problem.
My name is Ivan Amari. I was born in Malawi alongside the lake. And my profession job, I'm an artist. I grew up from the poor family. Then I started drawing on the sand, on the ground at school. Because the school where I was going, it's a poor area, and we didn't have like some books. So most of the time I was just like playing on the sand, start sketching. People like whatever I was doing. Then to become, when I was young, to become like the national level, to be one of the youngest cartoonists in my country. So then I faced some problems because of the politics. People, they didn't like my cartoon because they were saying that I was too young for that, and I'm trying to ring my nation, then end up running away from my country. I'm a free man. That's why most of the time when you look at my theme, I like to paint something which is peaceful. For example, like an elephant. I love to paint elephant too much, you see. I love to paint like the sunset, the sunrise, you see. So because those things, there's no harmful to the human being, I can't paint like a dead person. I like to paint something like scaring things, you see, like scaring faces, you see. So for me, death is there. I know that there's a death, but the death is there, but I don't really like to be closer with it, you see. So that's why most of the time, I like peaceful things. You see, most of the sceneries, that's why I like to paint like quiet places, like water, which is something peaceful, because we can't live without the water, you see. For me, it's got a lot of meanings. For example, like that piece what I'm painting there, you see. It talks about my life, you see. For each and every day when I wake up, you see, I do wake up positive, I
was a former gangster, not just in prison, but even here in Bernander, one from the biggest gangsters in Bernander. I was a gang leader. I have to put example for the others. If I say they must cut that guy's throat, they must do it, because otherwise they're going to be stabbed with a knife.
Okay, this is Clive. His surname is Mart, and he's my husband. And we live here in Bernander. Beautiful place in Bernander, you see. And kan ik zeker lief voor hem? Can I tell that I love him? Okay, and I love him very much and very dearly because he's my partner for life, and he's a very good father, very good husband, excellent husband, I think.
This is my wife, Dorothy. Her name is Dorothy Ma. We live in Bernander. Bernander, as you heard about Bernander, a mad place, but there are so a lot of lilies and positive things. And I love my wife because through the grace of God and her praise up to God, make me what I am today. And that's why I thank God put this wife along with me and pray for me, and she never gave up. She never gave up. I'm married for 25 years now, and she never gave up. I was prisoner. They sentenced me to death. 2 years in Pretoria, and my death sentence turned to 32 years, and nearly to 15 years in prison. And because of that, I lost my mother, I lost my father, and I lost my second eldest brother. I can't blame anyone except myself, because so many people, even my parents, my late parents, talked to me to tell me I must stop doing crime. But as you know, as a young boy, you don't tell me. I want to do my thing.
Headstrong.
Headstrong, don't want to listen to the elders. And I open my eyes far away in prison. But to the grace of God, my wife never give up.
And what I would like to add to that is, kan ik maar praten van Ed? Can I go in?
Yeah.
Okay. It's only the second time I'm going public with this. And I think in 2008, me and my husband both were diagnosed as HIV positive people. I had a virus. My husband was diagnosed in March 2008, 25th of March. And me, I was diagnosed that same year, the 25th of September. And I mean, I was serving the Lord all these years, still serving Him now. And I couldn't understand why He did this, why He let this thing happen to me.
Solon Bongi Penteki but the first name is Bonga. I was born 1983 21 August on a day Tuesday. I was born at Mamolweni location. I will save about 20 pesos and we make two rescues. I've got a field life-saving and I will enjoy to work as a lifesaver, but I have consequences of a lifesavers because most people can't do well. Like equipment, it's not enough. Secondly, road, because the road is not good for the transport to fetch sometimes a patient, maybe women too pregnant or other somebodies can sick him. You can't come as an ambulance or emergent. You can't come fast because of road, because the road is terrible. It's not good. Sometimes other people can die because of transport can delay because of road.
Muizenberg is the most awesome place to live in the world because we've got the most incredible sea right here, and we're in between the sea and the mountain. So we have our own mountain in the back garden, we have our own sea in the front garden, and then in between I live in a little village. So the village is very much like, you know, everybody, you walk the streets, there's lots of artists, lots of musicians, lots of creatives, and just lots of amazing meals all around everyone's houses. What do I do? I am an artist, and I have lots of different projects that I do because I seem to have an ability to have too much concentration on one thing at one time. So I just do lots of different projects. So I paint, and I paint murals, and I facilitate mural projects. I do some community projects in the area where I try and facilitate people coming together in a creative way, try and bring out like some eco-aware projects and community projects. And then I make chocolate out of raw superfood, so it's chocolate that is actually good for you. I think that we live in an incredible country. I think that we have gone through a major shift where people growing up in a whole way of thinking and a whole way of being managed to change and shift and enter a whole new way of living. So I think this is an incredible lesson that we can teach the rest of the world, that it is possible to change, and it's fine. It doesn't have to be. It is a bit hard, but it doesn't have to end in violence. It does, it can actually be people can change, and I think this is the lesson that we can teach the world from our country. Obviously politics affects me, and we all live within the boundaries of structures of society, but I think I've kind of found my own little space at the edge of Cape Town where I live in a village and I'm between the sea and the mountain, and I believe that what you focus on you kind of enforce. So if I'm going to focus on how bad the government is or how things don't work, then I think you just make that you just confirm that, and then everybody thinks that, and then that is how it is. So what I prefer to do is consciously make the decision not to read newspapers and not to watch the TV. I don't have a TV, I don't watch the news, I don't read newspapers. So I don't really know what's going on, but I kind of use that extra brain space to focus on what I do think is important. So I think that people's creativity is important. I think that living in a more eco-aware, eco-conscious way is more important. We will not really survive very long on this planet if we all continue to go off on a tangent of Western consumerism and whatever. I think that we need to change. So I'm trying to focus on where it is that people could change. So I don't really live too much in the stories of politics and rather kind of focus on what I believe I can help with.
Do you come here often? Have we met before? Tell me your impression now. Could you like me more? Could you even love me here? Is it too early to tell? Who am I fooling when I know too well?